Welcome to episode 8 of the Sober Stretch podcast, podcast for anyone who has a problematic relationship with alcohol. My name is Gary. My friend here is Craig. We are two former alcoholics who've sorted our goddamn lives out. What we're going to talk about today, mate, and how are you?
Yeah, apart from football, no football talk today. Apart from that, because England is shit, I'm all good. How are you?
I'm very well. Scotland are less shit than they were last Friday, so I'm good. You've had a week to get to terms with my Scottishness, have you?
Yeah, still a bit fucked up from it, to be honest with you. I just had no idea. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, had no idea. Can't imagine living in England and not supporting England. That blows my mind.
To be fair, when your man scored yesterday, who scored Kane, I did celebrate. So
Yeah, nice.
same. Well, my daughter's half English, so
Yeah, so I suppose you have a little soft spot for him, but it's
yeah,
either
man.
proper hate or loving it. I suppose Scottish and English don't
It
like
used
each
to
other.
be hate. It used to be hate.
So yeah, what we're going to talk about today is it's hard to put the nail on the head. It's quite a broad subject, but realistically, it's the transition from being a complete messhead, waster, druggy, shit person, whatever you want to call yourself, to then actually being a normal person. The transition, because it's mad. Some people will see you at your worst. The next time they see you, you're completely different, and it's a weird one because I feel like in my experience, people think I'm this completely different person, which is true. I am a different person, but I'm also still the same person. I don't need to have a drink to have a good time now. You know?
It's amazing how people will actually define your whole character by the fact that you've stopped drinking. Oh,
Literally.
is he a different man now?
Yeah, literally.
Well,
Literally.
yeah, I am a different man, but my inherent personality traits haven't really changed.
Exactly. Exactly. It's as if people think you're a boring bastard because you don't drink or do drugs. You're a boring bastard because you don't want to ruin your life anymore. If you can, like I said so many times, if you can drink and have a few drinks and it not affect your life, that's absolutely fine. But I feel like people they don't want to be around you because you're not fucking yourself up,
It's
which is
mental, isn't it?
crazy. Yeah, crazy.
I think that says more about the other people though than you, me, or any other person in that transformation. I mean, I would say my transformation is complete. Perhaps if it's the first time I listen to the podcast, me, Gary, 10 years sober, Craig, nearly 2. Maybe you're still in that transitional period of changing. I'm just now a sober cunt as opposed to an
Yeah,
alcoholic.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I hear you. Like, I think it's other people perhaps projecting their wish to be more like you, not being able to handle it. I don't know. Everyone's slightly different, but I certainly found at the beginning, oh, you don't drink. Okay.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm still in the transitional period.
Yeah, but you're deep into it, so that all these changes, because we spoke off air about becoming a better member of society, and there's a desire to do that when you stop drinking, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. I think you are right. As time goes on, things become more and more and more normal. You know, it's the same. It's the same with everything. And because I don't preach it. I don't preach sobriety. I don't shove it down people's throats or anything like that. I'm not like one of these guys that just walks around town fucking shouting at all the alcoholics or anything like that. But I think it's hard for people to. Maybe people look at themselves a little bit and think, "Fuck me!" Like maybe it reminds themselves that they should probably take a leaf out of my book.
I would think so. certainly with people whose relationship with alcohol is teetering on the brink of alcoholism, or too regular a session, or I wish I could not drink on a Thursday. Those kind of people. I definitely, when I was heavily drinking, I definitely thought anyone that didn't drink was a tit. I was
Yeah,
like,
same.
what? How did you?
Same.
How'd you have a good time? Are you a uptight bastard? Why don't you know how to let your hair down?
You think you're better than us?
Yeah, you smug this and that. I mean, like you say, we're not standing outside Weatherspoons with a big book, like step forward, dickhead.
Yeah,
But there is certainly an element of people's internal battle being projected
yeah.
on people like us.
I kind of feel like there's a bit of a divide. You've got the proper pub geezers that once was us,
Hmm.
and they won't. A lot of people don't want to associate with sober people now. That's genuinely what I feel.
Is that amongst your group of friends? See, my sober experience has been different. You still live where you grew up. You've always lived in and around that area, apart from a spell in Leeds. No,
Correct. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I've moved
Yeah.
around so much, and which we've mentioned various times before on previous episodes. But every time I moved, I wasn't getting judged as much because people just knew me as a guy that didn't drink. But I think when you're around your friends and then you make that transition, that's perhaps when what you're talking
Yeah.
about occurs.
Yeah. That's a good point actually, because one minute you're this person, and the next minute you're that person.
Hmm.
Although I can't drum it into people's heads enough, I'm still the exact same person. I'm still a twat. I still make mistakes. Not perfect at all. I just don't drink anymore because I wanted to have a better life. Yeah.
And
So
you've still got all the positive traits. They haven't changed either. They're just probably accentuated or have come out,
yeah,
in that change.
yeah. Well, like we said last week, like the only time I was positive when I was drinking was when I was drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that was a lot of the time, but think about it, from like evening to early hours of the morning. Yeah, I'm happy, go lucky, think I'm the man, the mutt's nuts and all that. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Walking around thinking I'm Conor McGregor. But then apart from that, for the rest of the time when I'm not drunk or under the influence, I'm an absolute shell of a man. So what would you rather be?
Yeah. I mean, when you paint it like that, it's actually incredible that for so long we chose to be the negative version.
Yeah,
Well, obviously,
exactly.
it's not incredible. It's not surprising. It's a drug, or it's a an addictive substance. It's a poison as well. Just to remind everyone. But yeah, it's unfortunate that yours, but everyone's who gets sober, your desire to change can be, tempered and made more difficult by people not wanting to do the same.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because it definitely has an impact. I Thinking about it now, my pals are really good. Like my pals are sweet, but um, I can imagine for a lot of people, a lot of friends who don't. I don't know. Say you've got a drinking partner. Imagine you at your lowest. Yeah, you at your lowest, and you've had that one friend that would always get fucked up with you.
Yeah,
Yeah. No matter how shit you're feeling, how anxious you are, he's always there. Like he'll give you money when you need it, or vice versa. You'll help each other out, fuck each other's
yeah,
lives up. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Imagine if
yeah,
that person then just turned
yeah,
around and said, "Now, Gary, I'm not doing it anymore." You'd be like, "What the fuck, mate? How could you do this to me?" Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Or,
Don't abandon me. How am I gonna cope with my pitiful
yeah,
life without you? Yeah, because
yeah,
my best mate, um, who was the person I probably executed more carnage with than anybody, was well proud. I wasn't in the same country when I got sober, but he was well proud of me, and we didn't speak too much when I was away. But he's like my boy, like you go a year without talking, send a text like it was
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah, yeah,
And I know that when we lived together in London, if I'd have if he'd have dropped that bombshell on me, I would have been lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He was my comfort blanket.
Yeah.
He was I could never rely on him. I'd have been able to rely on you at 8 a.m. to drink with me,
Yeah.
from what was said. But he was dreadful on a hangover. He was fucking useless. He'd just like eat pistachio nuts and drink Lucozade and cry. Whereas I'd be
Yeah.
like, come on, and I'd be itching for him to feel well enough in the afternoon or evening to have another drink, or the next day. Like, come on, mate. But if he'd abandoned me, hi Jim, if you're listening, by the way. If he'd abandoned me, I would have really struggled to cope.
Yeah.
It would have brought a lot home, I think, to me.
Yeah. And that is like, that's such a big fear, isn't it? So scary. You just want that other person to be on your wavelength to make you feel that it is acceptable to drink at 8 a.m. when you
Yeah,
woke up.
yeah. Because when you've spoken about drinking warm, half finished cans in the morning at parties, wake up, and I had
Right.
one
Yeah.
mate that used to do that, but I was bad for that. Um, if there's someone else doing it, it's kind of admonishes you of responsibility, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Like,
Yeah. Okay, it's almost like, you know, Christmas, like it was almost acceptable to drink at any time.
mm-hmm.
That's what it's like when you've got that partner in crime who's willing to go the full way with you. It's like that all the time. Um,
Yeah, it's like the airport. You're allowed. You walk
yeah,
into an airport at 5 a.m. Your
you,
airport is the airport's your excuse, and
yeah, you know when you like meet someone new for the first time, and they're like, "What, you're drinking already?" Blah blah, and you're like, "Oh shit, you're not that guy. We're not on the same vibe." But then you'll meet another person. You meet another person, and you'll be like, "Yeah, you'll lie. You'll be like, yeah, but I'm not normally like this." And then, and then you'll get another person who's like, yeah, sick, like, yeah, I've been drinking since 8 a.m. too, and you're just like, yeah, man,
yeah, yeah.
you're
We're
my
gonna hang
guy.
out. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
you're my
yeah,
guy. Ah, yeah. Because these people that the people that you can rely on at that kind of time in the morning, um, they're also the ones that need to take a good long look at themselves. But you're kind of hiding from the world together, aren't you?
yeah. Both got demons clearly, and you're. It's actually quite sad, really, because you're both obviously struggling about different things, and the only thing that you have in common is your love for booze, so you don't actually have to think too deeply. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
then no doubt you'll drink, and then the more you drink, the more shit you'll come out with, the more you'll talk about it, and it's probably quite nice. That's probably why we like to drink, because we could talk when we had a drink. We could be honest and come out of our emotions and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Whereas when we're sober, we're an absolute shell, like all fucking stiff and tight. And
yeah. I found when I was sober or hungover or broke and couldn't drink, I found it. I'm quite an open person and will speak. Well, what's the word?
speak freely.
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy. Like I said before, I walk. I'm the type of person to walk into a room and go, "Morning. These are my emotions today."
Yeah, 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 yeah,
um, so it wasn't overly hard for me, but there were times where I would be so say like a tortoise into its shell and think, I don't want to speak. I don't want to have my thoughts in the air
yeah,
for other people to judge or form an opinion on. I don't know. Fucked. Just all that. That's just a messy, horrible, grim way to live, isn't it?
yeah. Would you tell people then that you had a drink problem, or would you kind of be like, no, just like having a good time?
I mean, my closest friends, I never I said to one female friend who I went to school with and lived near in London, who was like a sister to me. I'm still friends with her. I would say, said one day I'm an alcoholic, she'd be like, yeah, obviously. You know,
yeah.
I've known her
And then
since she
you're
was
like,
10. She could look me in
yeah,
the eye and go, well, of course you are, you fucking nutter.
yeah.
But,
And then you're like, what? Do you actually think I'm an alcoholic? And it fucking puts you back up against the fence. Do you know what I mean? You're a bit like, wow, you
mm,
know, do you?
I mean, I think amongst all of my friends, everyone knew that my drinking was not normal.
Yeah,
It was just, but we were all heavy drinking. It was the early 2000s, late 90s. It was normal to be like that. But I was just an exceptional case. So,
yeah,
what do you say to your mate Jed in the pub at 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning when you're both in there to watch United and you're both thinking,
yeah,
right, let's get on it?
yeah, yeah. Exactly. You don't need to tell him that you think you got a drink problem. Do you know what I mean? You're in there at 11 in the morning. It's fucking pretty obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. When you've been out together until 4 o'clock the night before, and you stayed at his house and you've had 2.5 cans in the kitchen before you came to the pub, and you know that if you have another 3 pints, you're going to be like, I'm going to be half steaming by 3:30 this afternoon.
Lovely.
So that transformation that you mentioned at the beginning, when that comes, or when that gets initiated by early sobriety, I think you're. Well, I know you're the same. For me, there was an absolute urgent need to stay sober, but as that became easier, there was a desire to start doing good and making up for lost time and becoming a better contributor to society. The same for you, no?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like you said, it can take what 3 years of. You used to make a conscious effort not to drink every day for the first 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I think I can understand it. And then after the first 3 years, well, it doesn't have to just be 3 years, does it? It depends how much you drunk before, and obviously that's going to determine how long your brain needs to fix itself.
Mm-hmm.
And after that amount of time, it just becomes normal life, doesn't it? If you
Mm-hmm.
just, let's say I don't know, I'm not going to categorize it because people get funny about it, but let's say Barbara only drinks. She drinks a bottle of wine a night. It might not take her 2 or 3 years for life to become normal. You know what I mean?
I would completely agree. I think Barbara's very lucky compared to us.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas if you've been having, let's be realistic, 30, 40, 50 beers over a weekend, and then 8 beers every night midweek, I'd probably say that's probably about what I was doing.
Yeah,
It's no surprise that I'm still going to go through ups and downs for a couple of years, is it?
definitely. I mean, like, for anyone listening, think about how much you're drinking, and then, if you are, I've started a new Instagram chat group aside of my normal one for the Euros, like an accountability group, small group compared to the other one, and said to that, I think it blows people's minds when I say 3 years, but really think about it. If you spent a decade, 2 decades caning it every day, you are off your fucking rocker if you think that's going to fix itself in 12 months completely.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it does get better after a couple of months, but you're never going to be
Yeah.
healed, are you?
No, we're talking about like pure, almost
100%.
end game healed.
Yeah.
We are very honest, and it probably sounds negative sometimes, but like you say, I mean, look, your 20 months, the transformation in you is unreal, mate. I've never even met you.
Yeah.
I feel like I've known you all my life now, but look what Craig's achieved in 20 months in real time now, people. It's
Yeah,
significant, and
exactly.
it's not all bad. Of course, it's not. But like, if you're drinking, if the abuse is constant, like it was with us, it will improve, but there'll still be lingering issues for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Because I still think there must be, like, my life is, I can't tell you, it is so much better, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But there is still times where I struggle in maybe in some like social aspects, not because I can't socialise, because I think I'm better at socialising now,
Mm-hmm.
but adjusting to going into them environments that I used to be pissed in. So I used alcohol to socialise. It's difficult to socialise with people that are on that level now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I struggle to put it into words, but basically, I don't know. I just find that the conversations aren't the same. You're not gonna have a normal conversation with someone that's 10 pints deep. Put it that way.
No, 5 really.
No, yeah, exactly. So like your accountability group for the Euros, that's such a big thing, because even last night I've watched both the England games at home, um, with friends. But normally that's just madness for me. Like, normally I'm the first one down the pub, like, reserving a table. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, 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 yeah. A
Just
week and a half before.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Um, and football and beers, and that just goes hand in hand.
of course
So
it does.
I still sometimes I will struggle with the transition. It's kind of, it can be a little bit lonely sometimes, because all your mates are down the pub. Like, most of my mates are there. Do you know what I mean? Fucked
Mm.
on one. But I've been there, done that. I can't do it. I'm horrendous. I just know I can't do it. But it is yeah, it can be testing times, I think, for the difference in lifestyle.
So yeah, it is certainly, there are so many. Like, we're in peak trigger time, I think now, aren't we? Start of the
Yeah,
summer, weather's
summer,
getting good. Euros, fucking Olympics after that, Wimbledon, any excuse, man. Pims and strawberries and
Pims.
cream.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never had Pims, but everyone bangs on about it.
Mate, it's fucking nice, man. My mate and his wife used to drink winter Pims. That shit, mate. If that had been available in the summer, I'd have drunk it all year. It was gorgeous. Um, but there's always an excuse and there's always a trigger. So you've done the
Yeah,
hard. You're still in that period of the hard, to a degree, the hard graft, because
yeah,
you run daily, and that's, you're not running daily because it's like pure pleasure, are you? It's
have to,
you
have
have
to.
to run, not necessarily to stay sober, but just
No
to stay sane.
clarity. Um, you have to. It's. I can't really put it into the best words, but I don't know, like, the way that you feel after a run. Yeah, I've got something done today. Do you know what I mean? I've done
Hmm.
something. I've not sit and grovelled. That, I don't know. Maybe it's because, like, I don't know. Say for an example, last night England played. Yeah, normally I would have been fucking hanging out my arse today. There is no way on earth I would have gone to work unless I was still up from the night before. So for me, all my mates went out or are there. I wake up early, go for a run. That's my reward for staying in last night and not watching it. I get to wake up fresh and go for a run. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and it
So,
and it prolongs the improvement. It prolongs the goodness inside you. So when you get to that point where you're at now, like, your desire to transform and give back and become a better member of society, like, your peak there at the moment, aren't you? You've got Live Without Limits coaching _coaching, for anyone that needs a PT. But that's, you're you know you're giving something. You are providing a service. You're able to do it to the best of your ability because you're sober.
exactly.
And I think that kind of, what's the word? That kind of, I don't know what the word is, but your desire to offer people help, guidance, whatever it may be. Even this, you know, our podcast. I mean, that's drunk cunts don't do this.
No.
Drunk cunts don't do a podcast to make people feel better.
No.
So, and
But
then I think that starts to snowball. Mine was through teaching and, you know, various things. But
yeah, wanting to give back to people. I feel like we may have spoke about this before, but because I was, I mean, don't get me wrong, I wasn't the worst of the worst. I didn't beat people up. I didn't stab people. I didn't fucking
me
steal
neither.
people's purses and stuff like that. But I wasn't a good person. Do you know what I mean? I would rob from shops if I had to to eat and to drink. So then when you do become sober, for me personally, the thought of helping people, being able to help people when I know how fucking hard it is, in a selfish way, I get something out of that. It gives me something, not money, not to be rich from it or anything like that, but because I know how bad it is, to be able to help one person, to get one single DM saying, "Oh my God, I can completely relate." That is what makes me happy, and I know it makes you happy as well. Like it's mad. It's mad that us just talking like normal dickheads can help someone so much.
Yeah, no, we got there is. I don't want to say super fan because like we're not like
Fucking hell.
it's not the Joe Rogan
yeah,
of the
no.
UK.
Jesus.
But we've got one particular person who comments every week, going, "Oh, great episode!" And this morning she said, what was it? Another great episode, guys. I finally found a podcast where every week is as good as the previous one. That was very kind of her to say, and it's helping her. And that is like what adult life should be about: is doing rewarding things for yourself and for others.
Yeah.
An early part of our adult life was all about serving our alcoholism, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
there's a huge desire to make amends. It's partly, yeah, I agree, it's partly for selfish reasons. It's like that episode of Friends. I don't know if you watch Friends.
Nah, I can't
Friend,
stand.
do you know what? Friends for me, when I was drinking, it was the ultimate comfort blanket on it. Like, just put E4 on and I just lose myself in the hangover and think, oh, God. You know, but there's that episode where Joey and Phoebe are talking about there's no unselfish deed. Every deed is mildly selfish because you do it for your own satisfaction as well as helping.
Yeah.
And yeah, fair enough. Whatever. You know,
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot out of Sober and Sound and this. You are as well. But that's how the goodness of the world works.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly. But for me as well, like to talk on here with you and know that this is what I'm about now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice.
Yeah. Well
It's
put.
you're like I don't know. Blokes never fucking talk. I mean, I know you did, but I never used to talk about my emotions. So if I can just come on here and talk bollocks and it helps someone at the same time, perfect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's very rewarding. It's very fulfilling, and I think I went to and part of my sobriety transformation was watching a lot of YouTube. Listening to a lot of podcasts, watching them on YouTube, and extracting like the philosophical from it, and that really helped me understand who I should try and become. That's what normal people do. Do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
what good, decent people do. They want to help people. They want to be helped back. That kind of mutual exchange of
yeah,
goodness. So it's nothing like groundbreaking what the type of people we've become. But when you've gone from one extreme to perhaps another, comparatively,
yeah,
it's good for yourself as well. Though it's good for healing and moving on and letting go,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. It. I mean, I could easily get into this spiritual shit. I've said it so many times. I like all this meditating, heavy breathing, and stuff like that. I could get into that, but yeah, just talking you see about it all the time. People that struggle with depression and stuff like that don't talk. As soon as you start talking, you'll feel so much better. And I get I'm not going to say I get flooded with messages, but I do get a lot of messages on my private account of people saying how badly they're struggling, and that they see my videos and the podcast and stuff like that, and how they can relate, and it makes them feel so much better.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is healing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like it's part of your recovery.
Yeah, no, exactly. But for me, yeah, I do feel like the hardest challenge through sobriety, I feel like the number one reason as to why people would relapse is because not just the first withdrawals. Obviously, that will be the first reason why people can't relapse. But aside from that, I feel like the social aspect. I feel like the social aspect is a huge thing, and it is difficult. Like going to weddings, for an example. I went to a wedding on Friday, and it was unbelievable. It was such a lovely day, blah blah blah. And as soon as people start getting a bit too much, I'm fucking out of there. Do you know what I mean? I'm gone. I think I left around 7:00.
Yeah,
But
I mean, like God, the wedding, like your session would have finished at 7 a.m.
Yeah, yeah. But that's what you've
Understandable.
got to do now. That's what I have to do now.
But that's what everyone. If the temptation's so powerful and strong, I think that's what everyone should do.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know
Tough
what though? It's
fucking
not
shit, man. You're an alcoholic. Like, if you want to get sober, you can't stay at the wedding when everyone starts getting twatted.
exactly. Well, it's either that or relapse and feel like hell and let yourself
Yeah,
down again and your
yeah.
family.
And who are you looking after? Like, who's your priority on the wedding day at 7 p.m.? Is it you or is it the bride and groom? Bride and groom will be half cut.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No one would have fucking known I was gone. No,
Yeah, there
no,
you
they
go.
wouldn't.
No
They
one
wouldn't.
cares.
No one would have known. It's not like I upset no one. And to be honest with you, I didn't give a fuck anyway because I knew that was my time to go. That's not my life no more. Let's be honest, no one wants to hear what I've got to talk about anyway because I'm not fucked, so I'm not talking shit.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with talking shit if you want to listen to it and you're up for that, sweet, happy days. But you won't enjoy what I've got to say, and I won't enjoy what you've got to say because yours will be bollocks, and
Yeah.
I'll probably want to talk to you about the weather or something, or the pollen count today. Fuck me.
Is it high?
I think so. Jesus, I've never had hay fever before, but honestly, I've never had hay fever before. I watch myself back on these podcasts, man. I look like I've been chopping onions. It's it's horrendous.
Oh, I don't get it, man. I'm lucky, but
First time ever. But yeah, for me, that's the hardest point. The hardest part is the social aspect, the things that you have to do in order to not relapse. So many people would crumble at something like a wedding, or in the summer there is so much shit going on. Probably a wise idea to give up alcohol in the winter if you can choose your battles. I would probably suggest you're going to make it harder for yourself in the summer. I reckon more temptation, even though I done it in August.
Yeah, I did it in April in Spain when it was about 30 degrees.
Yeah, lovely pub gardens and that, beautiful.
But the pub garden's beautiful in your head.
Yeah,
You know, the pub garden is it's just a garden.
yeah, no,
It's just
yeah,
picnic benches.
yeah. I know.
What are you missing out on? You're missing out on the crack. Like, what is the crack? What is the crack? What is the crack? Is the crack that when it gets to 7 p.m. and it's still warm outside, you can stay in the beer garden all night, but then people start getting a bit rowdy, or your mate Claire, who always gets emotion, when she's had too much, starts crying, and then someone says something snide, and then someone says, "Oh, why are you being such a bitch to Claire?" What is that like? What are you missing out on?
No,
You're
no
missing out. What you're really missing out on is
drama.
the drama and the bullshit. But like that kind of, say you go at 6 p.m., you're missing out on the enjoyable 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. where you have a few beers in the sun, and that's all pleasant and it's all savoury. But after, that's probably what you're missing.
Yeah,
And it's only 2 hours because you don't miss, like, I don't know.
literally. How, like I said so many times, if it doesn't affect your life in any way, shape, or form, doesn't affect your relationship with your family, doesn't affect your relationship with your missus, doesn't make you feel rotten the next day, doesn't jeopardize your work,
Or your health.
your health, fair play. Sweet. I wish I was you.
Yeah. Consume your sensible amounts of poison each day
Yeah,
or week.
yeah,
You crack on. Like,
yeah,
I'm not sitting here judging people that are walking around vaping because I think it's fucking dumb. No offense. But you're using that as a tool to get to stop smoking. Are you not?
yeah. Well, I'm on a zero milligram one now. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like you've done that, and now you're recognizing that's a problem. So like you're just in this constant transformational kind of vibe.
Mm.
But I'm not going around judging. I'm sitting on my sofa here. I can see where the kids were last night. 15-year-olds all vaping like.
Yeah.
No judgment. I was in the park, face down, covered in piss and sick at that age.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So no,
Like,
no
who the
judgment. We're not
fuck are
like that.
you?
We're not. Eh?
Who are you to tell them not to have a couple of vapes when you were pissing yourself face down?
Oh no, you sanctimonious twat, Gary.
Yeah, but no,
But yeah,
yeah,
it's
got no issues, and it doesn't jeopardize your life in any way, shape, or form. Fair play, crack on. But if it's holding you back from being the person that you want to be,
yeah.
I think it's got to go, isn't it?
It's got to go. It's time for a long hard look at yourself. And yeah, tough titty.
Do you? What was yours? Because obviously being 10 years sober, smug bastard. What did you come up with any like social challenges? Did you completely opt out of everything, or did you still participate in things and just not drink? Did you feel like you were? Because people say to me they're scared of becoming sober because they're worried about being boring and they're worried about not being able to have a good time. They're not worried. They're worried about not being able to go to this party or this wedding, and they're worried about being just boring to be around, basically.
I mean, I think that's one of the biggest fears, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I got sober, I got sober in April, and it was the 2014 World Cup in June, the one in Brazil that Germany won. And here's an example. I watched the World Cup final in my flat on my own, the Germany-Argentina one, right in the middle of the old town with plenty of Argentinians probably around, dotted around. So with noise from the city, from the typical like foreign historic town centre, just chatter and cheering and screaming and fun. And I was just sitting in my pants on the sofa. My flatmate was out. He didn't want to hang around with me anyway because he thought it was at Bell End. So
What?
I
Because he
stayed
thought
in.
you were boring.
No, not that he thought I was boring. He thought it was weird actually because I spent 4 months living with him, and I was very difficult to live with just because of how out of control I was at the end.
Same. Same.
And then and then strangely I made the change, but him and his mates or our mates that we'd acquired, they still wanted to keep me at a distance. And I don't know if it was to help me but I felt they were really cold towards me. And I don't blame them at all. I've seen him since and it was all gravy. It was all fine. Really nice guy.
Maybe it's
Kind
what you
of,
needed. A good friend. A proper good friend.
he was a good guy, man. Really, really, really good bloke.
Didn't
So I don't
influence you
know,
to,
but
didn't influence you to be like, oh, come on, Gary, fuck it. Let's go and come on, it's the World Cup, have a couple of drinks.
not in the slightest. No, I think he thought that. I think like an inherently good bloke and loved a drink, loved a party, smart, great character, but with just a sensible person that could keep a lid on it. And I don't know what he was thinking at the time, but he was younger than me, and he knew I had a massive problem. Anyway, my point being, to answer your question, I avoided social situations for I say on podcasts and stuff 2 years, really. I mean, when I got sober in Seville in April, I moved to Tenerife in September because I asked for a transfer because I just wanted to like rid myself of Seville memories. And when I got that transfer, I would go into work. I knew a few people that were working there. I didn't know the rest, but I got on really well with everyone. And on Friday night, they would go out every Friday night and get absolutely smashed. And I'd go for one coffee and a sparkling water, and I'd go home.
With them?
No, they'd all go out. They'd finish work at 6, and they'd all go straight to the bar. And
Oh,
I'd join them in the bar. I'd have
yeah,
one water, one short coffee, and I'd go. And I did
yeah,
that every single week for at least 2 years. And then I'd stay out a little bit longer. And then I moved to
yeah,
Barcelona, and I had a girlfriend from Barcelona who had loads of international mixed friends. And that's really when I started to become more sociable. But before
yeah.
that, I was a hermit, mate. I just didn't go out because I couldn't risk it. I couldn't risk it. I couldn't risk the
And it,
temptation. I remember I tried about 6 weeks into my sobriety. The World Cup had just started, and a couple of my mates had come from another city to stay at my house for the week and work with me. They're both teachers, and I went out on a Friday night one night, and I was in a club at like 1 o'clock in the morning, 5, 6 weeks sober, and I felt like an absolute lemon.
yeah,
Everyone coming up to me going, "Oh," like the students that we'd been teaching that week, we bumped into them. They come out and they'd be like, "Oh, Gary, you are not drinking tonight," and I'd be like, um, I felt like such a prick.
yeah.
So I was like, "Well, what's the point, man? What's the point of trying to stay sober and being out with people that are twatted?" So yeah, I was a long time
It
of
just
just
goes to show
avoidance.
how much commitment you've got to put into it.
Mm.
2 years of 2 years of no fucking up, 2 years of being consistent, and the same repetitiveness that you needed to get sober is mad, isn't it? Really, but I'm the same. I'm the same. You know when something is just so hard and it feels like it's so out of reach that in order to do it, you need to put everything into it every single day for 2 years. It's the only
Mm.
way you're going to get sober.
Yeah. And again, to reiterate, not if you're Barbara drinking 3/4 bottle of wine every night,
No,
but even Barbara needs to maybe like step back a bit. I don't know why we chose a grandma's name, but
I don't know. I just thought I don't know anyone called Barbara, and I thought if I use someone's name, imagine if I was using someone that I know as an example, they'll be like, "You
yeah, yeah.
cheeky bastard."
Um, but
Yeah,
maybe Barbara needs to not go to a few social occasions for some time and maybe drink AF beers. But you
yeah,
and I and others like us need to commit and commit hard. And
yeah,
if you commit hard for a couple of years like that, you're. It's not just committing hard to not going out and succumbing to temptation, but it's like that internalized. It's the inner work you do when you're not there.
yeah,
Everyone else Friday night, all my colleagues are out getting smashed, maybe doing a bit of coke, and I'm watching, you know, spiritual podcasts at home, trying to understand
yeah,
who I am.
yeah. This is why I think it is so important to brace yourself. And you said this, and you changed my mind on this actually. But have a plan. Yeah, you're going to need to come up with some hobbies or some things that you enjoy doing, because you're going to have so much time on your hands where all your pals are out. You can't just sit and wallow at home and think, "Oh, life is so shit. Wish I was out." You need to start putting your energy and focus into something else, because
Hmm.
otherwise it's just a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, yeah. You need to like be the plan. I mean, you probably had more of a plan than you thought, really.
Yeah,
But I was very conscious of a plan. I remember one day I went to this old Roman kind of a town near Seville that had been discovered underground, and it's like now a place you pay £6 to go and have a walk around. And I remember walking around there on a Sunday. It was about 3 weeks sober, head absolutely spinning, and I'd kind of got through the withdrawals and the general head fuck. And then I thought, I need to work out how I can do this properly now, because this is rare. Like 3 weeks, not rare, like unique. Never been 3 weeks without a drink. So, what am I going to do to maintain this? And that's when I started to, right, I'm going to meditate every day because it's doing me good. I'm not going to go out. I'm going to walk in the mornings. I'm going to do this on the afternoons. I'm going to occupy my mind this way. I'm going to stop speaking to those people, and that kind of became this plan.
Did you ever get scared then? So when you got to 3 weeks, because it's funny you say that. I remember getting to 6 weeks and being like, wow, because I was only going to do a 6 week detox, and I thought I was going to be reborn. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I lost a few people, and then I was like, right, I'm not drinking again. After I think like a year or a couple of months, I would have these moments of feeling scared that I was going to relapse and let everyone down and let myself down and then completely go back to where I started. Did you ever feel like that?
I honestly can't remember the exact emotion, but I do know that every day was a struggle not to drink. So I'm guessing that there was that fear.
Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it keeps you fucking there. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? I was so scared of drinking again that I think that really helped me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd acquired that momentum, like you said, and I was terrified of the idea of picking up a drink.
Yeah.
Obviously, very tempted a lot of the time. You know, I'm living in this beautiful sunny city, and I'm walking home from work, and there's like I've walked past 17 bars.
Smell it.
You know, and it's incredibly difficult, but
San Miguel €1.
mate, yeah.
On them chalkboards outside. Happy
Yeah.
hour. Every
Oh,
fucking
mate.
hour of the day. Are you joking?
Walking and living in the city centre and hearing, lying in bed at night at 11 o'clock and hearing like bar chatter and glasses and being collected and just surrounded by it. It wasn't like I was living in fucking Gillingham, you know, down a quiet residential street. I was in the heart of this pumping city that has more bars per square kilometre than any other place in Europe.
Wow.
So like, my achievement was monumental at the beginning, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, the temptation was the temptation and the fear was always there for, not always, was at that time constant. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting that we both decided to do it in summer as well. Like,
Well, yeah, I don't
the
know if it
sun
was a
does
decision.
something. The sun
Would
does
you?
something to people in England. I'm telling you. It does something to make you want to have a drink, whether it's a Copperberg or I don't know, like pub gardens, and it's probably because we never fucking get sun in England that we get it, and people are like, fuck me, let's celebrate. Do you know what I
No,
mean?
no doubt, mate. No doubt about that. Maybe it helped me being in Spain where it was just always nice and sunny. Because then I moved to Tenerife and it was sunny until December. You know, because it's constantly warm and good weather there. So I went really for almost 18 months. Didn't see the rain. That makes it harder, man. It's like, oh,
Yeah. Tenerife is bad memories for me. I went on a family holiday in Tenerife and ruined it because I got fucked. I kicked
yeah.
a hole in my hotel wall. Um, hid it from my mum the whole time. The whole time this happened on one of the first nights. I think we was there for 10 days, 2 weeks, and then she found out because the guys come to fix it on the very last day as we were coming out with the suitcases. What's happened here? Oh, fuck knows. But yeah, Tenerife bad memories. I got back and she had put like a leaflet for AA on my bed. This was when I was probably
Wow.
this was when I was in my early 20s.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So my mum knew the whole time. Do you know what I mean? She just knew.
They're not daft mums, are they? They
Nah,
know.
not at all.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, to finish off, I would say, if you want to get sober to not to improve your life, but to just become a better member of society, that is going to happen if you stick with it. And it's everything in it.
Yeah, the transition's crazy, to be honest with you. In a good way. Quality of life is so good. I do think you should remind yourself daily how bad you felt. If you have a burning desire to quit drinking, or if you have, I know you felt awful. You know that feeling of how bad you feel on a Monday morning. You've fucked your whole weekend up again, and now you've got another week of hell. Life's basically not worth living.
It's not really, is it?
No.
But that transformation is for the benefit of the listeners. We might talk a lot about the depressing side of it, but we do laugh a lot now. But your life is going, for anyone listening on Spotify and not on YouTube, your life is constantly improving, regardless of the misery that you're suffering and the temptation.
Yeah.
It's still increasing. That
Yeah.
exponential improvement is,
Yeah.
is what keeps you going, I think.
Yeah. There will be little drops, and it will shoot back up again.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah.
But yeah, adapt. Life's
Adapt.
better.
Yeah.
Life is better. Yeah, because you've got to miss out on a few things. You don't go on a lad's holiday anymore, or you don't go on a girl's holiday anymore. Not being funny, who gives a shit? It's 2 weeks. You feel like shit after them holidays anyway. I don't care what anyone says. You
You
come
need a
back,
holiday.
you need to go on another holiday.
Yeah, not looking like needing one.
No, yeah. No sun at all.
Well, there is sun today, so let's
Yeah.
go both and enjoy it.
Yeah, man. I've got work. Shame.
Safe. I haven't. I'm going to take my daughter to the woods and then to the beach.
You lucky bastard.
Something I couldn't have done 11 years ago. Because
Exactly.
she's 3.
Yeah.
Safe,
Sick,
mate.
man.
Before we go, where can we be found? We can be found on Instagram at The Sober Stretch. I have a personal account at Sober and Sound, Sober letter N Sound. And Craig?
I'm at live without limits _coaching.
Nice, and that's on Instagram, isn't it? And yeah, we're on YouTube, Spotify, The Sober Stretch. Follow us, share us. It's good for the page.
Sick, man. Have a good
Safe,
one.
bro. Take
Catch you
care.
later. Bye,
Peace.
mate.